By the end of this video, you'll have one tool in your mindfulness-based toolkit for overthinking. Now, I'm going to make a multi-part series on this because I think it's a really important topic. And none of these tools will stop thoughts, but they'll put you in a much better position to manage them and deal with them, and the results will be dramatically different. So let's get into the first one. So the first practice within this series is concentration or attention practice. And this is the crucial preliminary tactic in mindfulness. So to just be aware of what's currently arising in the present in a non-judgmental, compassionate, curious way is mindfulness. And it's really the antithesis or the opposite of overthinking. Instead of grasping at something and analyzing it or trying to push something away because it's repeating itself in the mind, that's overthinking. You're looking deeper into something rather than just noticing it as it is. And concentration and attention practice, which is fundamental to mindfulness, is the pathway into that acceptance and that non-judgmental noticing. So I love a quote from William Shakespeare that says, "Nothing is good or bad, only thinking makes it so." And that really taps into this idea that overthinking can create a lot of our suffering. And it's always the present, it's always now. So our thinking usually keeps us in the past or keeps us in the future. A lot of depression or negative thoughts that are sad are about the past, and a lot of stress and anxiety about the future is thoughts about the future. So to be present with what is, whether it's a sound, a sensation, a thought, a feeling, is to be here and now. And our overthinking usually keeps us outside of the present. So to really hone in and train a concentration and attention practice is going to offer us a lot of relief. Because we can be lost in thought for minutes or hours or even days in a mood or a feeling or a cycling of thoughts. And these are just thoughts and feelings and a constellation of thoughts and feelings that create moods that have gone unnoticed. And really refining that noticing, that mindfulness, comes from concentration and attention. So let's get into the actual practice itself and hopefully give you something you can take away and use. If you're liking this so far, give me a like and a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And let's get on to it. So concentration and attention are very useful tools for breaking this cycle of overthinking. And as Jay Shetty said, we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Most of those are negative, and almost all of them are about things that are out of our control. So the first way we can get into this is using our attention and our focus to center on one thing. And if this is in a formal mindfulness meditation session, I'd recommend using the breath or sounds. The breath is always present. You can't breathe in the past and you can't breathe in the future. So it's a wonderful anchor to center yourself in the present moment. So if you're sat in your meditative position and you're focusing on the inhale and the exhale, try and follow each breath or count each breath. And you will get distracted. It's impossible not to. And this is a great container to practice what's a reality for most of your day in a formal session. So as you become distracted, notice the thought in that compassionate and non-judgmental way, and then bring your attention back to what's ever present, whether it's an inhale or an exhale. And you'd repeat this a few times. This could be your formal meditation session. So focus on the inhale or the exhale, or count 1, and then 2, and the mind will wander. The mind always wanders, but what you're trying to do is notice the distraction. You could even note it, thought, feeling, whatever, and then come back to what's present right now. That's essentially the whole practice. You're training focus and attention, and what this will do is it will create space. And once you notice the thought as a thought, let it arise, pass away by focusing back on the breath. It will lose some of its power over you, and you'll in time start to see that there's gaps and space in between a thought arising, noticing, and passing away. And in that gap, in that moment, that's the mind, that's the freedom that's always already available to us if we can practice to that degree. and it will offer so much relief, and it all comes from that concentration practice. Because most of our thoughts will drain us of our energy, our enthusiasm, and if we can just let them be and focus on the present, that's wonderful. One little caveat here, most of us aren't going through our day like a monk in a meditative way, in a sitting posture and then a walking meditation. We don't have that luxury. So if you are doing a task, be that driving, cooking, or your own type of work, whatever that may be, and you become distracted, you can of course use the breath, as it's always available to us in the present. But if you can notice a thought and then bring your concentration or your attention back to whatever task you're doing in the present. So say you're cooking, you bring it back to that pulling back and forth of the pan or the stirring, or if you're driving, bring it back to the sensation of turning the wheel. Take your attention away from the distraction of the mind and put it back into the presence of the body. And that's a two-way practice, either always the breath that's available or usually whatever task you're doing. So I really hope this has helped you, and it would mean a lot if you could leave a comment about what you're finding useful. And this is, again, as I say, this is the first in a multi-part series on overthinking. So next week we'll be doing another method which will give you another tool in your mindfulness-based toolkit for overthinking. So until then, take care, my friends.